the gateman who smiled too much. The first time Alana Porter noticed him, he was sweeping the front driveway of her father's Atlanta mansion with music in his ears. He danced more than he swept, sliding his feet and spinning the broom like a microphone stand. Most gatemen Alana knew were stiff, serious, and silent. But this one, Jamal, always smiled like he knew something the rest of the world didn't. "Morning, Miss Alana," he said, pulling out one earbud as she stepped out. "Morning," she managed, surprised by how warm his voice felt. "You look stressed," he added boldly. Alana paused. Billionaire Eugene Porter's daughter was used to people tiptoeing around her. Guards, drivers, housekeepers, even business partners. No one ever stated the obvious. "School projects," she lied. She had graduated college 2 years ago, but she didn't feel like explaining her life. Jamal nodded. "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm around. I listen better than I sweep." Alana laughed. Really laughed for the first time in weeks. As she walked to her car, she looked back. He wasn't sweeping anymore. He was watching her, with a softness that made her heart skip. Something about him felt different. Real. And Alana hadn't felt real in a long time. That morning was the beginning of everything. And the beginning of her troubles. Alana started noticing him, more than she wanted to admit. Jamal opened the gate for her every morning, and every morning they talked a little longer. "What music are you listening to today?" she asked once. "Old school R&B, he replied. "The kind you feel in your chest, not just your ears." Another time he said, "You know, you smile nicer when you're not pretending." "Pretending?" she asked. "Yeah. Your real smile lifts both sides. The fake one only lifts the left." She blinked. No man had ever studied her smile before. Soon, she found herself waiting in the car longer, hoping he'd come out before she drove off. And he did. Every single day. Their conversations grew. Life. Dreams. Childhoods. Books they loved. Music they hated. Why she felt trapped living as Eugene Porter's daughter. Why he worked 2 jobs but still walked with pride. One rainy afternoon, she brought him coffee. "You didn't have to," he said. "I know," she replied. "But I wanted to." He looked at her for a long time, longer than a gateman should look at a billionaire's daughter. "I can't afford trouble, Miss Alana," he whispered. "Who said this is trouble?" He shook his head. "Everything beautiful comes with consequences." She didn't know what he meant then, but she would find out. And it would change her life. Housekeepers talk. Drivers talk. Cooks talk. The Porter mansion was a fortress of gossip, and soon whispers spread. "Miss Alana spends too much time with the gateman." The Porter mansion looked peaceful from the outside. Clean marble floors, expensive chandeliers, and perfectly trained staff in crisp uniforms. But behind all that beauty was a loud, invisible radio that never stopped broadcasting gossip. And lately, that radio had a new topic. Alana and the gateman. It started as light comments. "Miss Alana seems happier lately," the head maid whispered one morning while polishing silverware. "Happier?" The younger maid laughed softly. "Because she stays at the gate talking to that Jamal boy every day. That's not happiness. That's trouble." "Her father won't like this," another staff member muttered. Soon, the small comments evolved into full-blown discussions. Every staff member had an opinion. "The way she looks at him, dangerous," the chef said while seasoning chicken. "I don't want to be here the day Mr. Porter finds out," the groundskeeper replied. Alana didn't mean to eavesdrop. She only wanted a glass of water. But the moment she stepped into the kitchen doorway, she heard one final sentence that hit her chest like a punch. "Rich girls don't fall in love with gate men. It never ends well." The room fell silent when the staff noticed her standing there. They quickly bowed their heads, suddenly busy cutting vegetables and wiping tables they had already cleaned. But the damage was done. Alana walked out quietly, but her mind was storming. Upstairs in her room, she paced restlessly. Why did people care so much about who she talked to? Why did the idea of a billionaire's daughter speaking to a hardworking man disturb them so deeply? Why was status more important than kindness? She sighed and reached for her phone. Alana, people are talking about us in the house. Jamal, I'm sorry. I knew this would happen. Alana, does it bother you? Jamal, I've survived worse rumors than this. Alana, but it's getting louder. Jamal, then let it get loud. I'm not running because people whisper. Alana stared at his message for a long moment. That was the thing about Jamal. He wasn't intimidated by money or titles. He wasn't shaken by the idea of being beneath her. He had a quiet kind of courage. A confidence that didn't need to be shouted. And that confidence made her feel safe. That afternoon when she came home, Jamal opened the gate with his usual warm smile. You okay? He asked softly. She nodded. People are talking. They always talk, he replied. But your life isn't theirs to narrate. The way he said it, calm, steady, certain, it made her chest flutter. But what neither of them noticed was the slim figure standing behind an upstairs curtain, watching them closely. And that figure wasn't one of the maids. It was Eugene Porter. And the whispers he heard that day? They would ignite a war. That evening, dinner at the Porter mansion was unusually quiet. No jazz music. No business calls on speaker. No casual talk about stock prices. Just the steady clink of Eugene Porter's fork against his plate and the loud silence that sat between father and daughter. Alana could feel his eyes on her even when he wasn't looking directly at her. You've been spending a lot of time downstairs, Eugene said finally, cutting into his steak. She swallowed. I live here. Downstairs is still my house. Don't play smart with me. His tone sharpened. I'm talking about the gate. Her heart dropped. The gate. Yes. The front gate. My staff. My gateman. He didn't say Jamal's name, but the way he said gateman felt like an insult. Dad, he has a name, she said quietly. Jamal. And you use it too freely, Eugene replied. You're a porter. People are watching you. You don't get to behave like some girl with no training. Anger burned her chest. Is talking to a human being now a crime? She asked. He works here. He protects this house. Why can't I greet him? Or laugh? Or have a conversation? Because people like him don't understand boundaries, Eugene snapped. They see a little kindness and think they've arrived. Alana pushed her plate away. That's not true. It is, he insisted. You think he likes you for you, but trust me, Alana. Men like that see opportunity, not love. And I will not allow you to be someone's charity project or ticket to comfort. The words stung. You don't even know him, she wanted to scream. You don't know his dreams, how he talks about his mom, how he listens when I'm sad. You know his salary, not his soul. But she didn't say it. Instead, she stood up. I'm done eating. Good night, Dad. She walked out. Up in her room, she paced for a long time before finally sneaking to her window. From there, she could see the faint glow of the security booth light by the gate. She texted him. Alana. You still there? Jamal. Yeah. You okay? Alana. Not really. He talked about you today. Jamal. Let me guess, he doesn't want you near the gateman. Alana. Yeah. Jamal. Do you? Alana. Want what? Jamal. Want to stay away from me? Her fingers hovered. Alana. No. Jamal. Then I'm here. At the gate. Like always. The message made her chest ache and heal at the same time. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass and whispered into the night. I'm not ready to lose you. What she didn't know was that somewhere else in the mansion, Eugene was looking at security footage from his tablet, zooming in on the way she smiled at the gate. To him, it wasn't just a friendship. It was a threat. The breaking point came 3 days later. Alana had just returned from a designer's studio downtown. Jamal opened the gate, his eyes lighting up. You changed your hair, he said. She touched the new curls. You noticed. I noticed the first time you drove in, he replied. I just wanted to say it right. She laughed softly. You always say things right. They lingered there longer than usual, talking about everything and nothing. Her childhood, his love for reading, the weird way Atlanta traffic worked. At one point, she bumped his shoulder playfully. He bumped her back. For a few seconds, it felt like they were just two ordinary people on an ordinary street. Alana. Her father's voice shattered that illusion. She froze. Slowly, she turned. Eugene Porter stood a few steps away from them, dressed in a dark suit, eyes like stone. He had come home early. Nobody warned her. Inside, he said to her. Then he turned to Jamal. You. Stay right there. The staff watching from a distance suddenly found reasons to scatter. Inside the living room, Eugene didn't sit. He paced in front of the glass coffee table like a storm. What did I tell you about boundaries? He began. Alana's hands shook. Dad, we were just talking. He snorted. You were just talking with your hand on his arm. Her cheeks burned. She hadn't even realized she had touched Jamal. Is it a crime to care about someone? She asked, voice trembling. It is a mistake, Eugene said coldly, for a porter to fall for someone who cannot stand beside them. He's not a child. He's a man, she argued. He's a gateman, Eugene shot back. And I will not have you embarrass this family. That's the problem, she said, tears pushing to her eyes. You care more about your name than my heart. He stopped pacing. Then his voice lowered, dangerous and slow. Let me make this simple, since you are clearly confused. He pointed a finger toward the gate outside. You will end whatever fantasy this is with that boy. Today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. And if I don't, she whispered. Eugene's jaw tightened. Then you will no longer be my heir. The words hit the room like thunder. She stared at him. What? I built Porter Holdings with my own hands, he said. The real estate, the tech investments, the hotels. Everything you're supposed to inherit. I will transfer it to charity or to my cousins before I let my only child throw it away on a man hired by the hour. So, you're asking me to choose? She asked slowly. Between money and love? I am asking you to choose between stability and stupidity, he replied. You cannot have both. Her eyes filled. Dad. I'm done talking. He turned away. You have until tonight. Either I see you walk away from him, or I start making phone calls. He left her standing there, a storm of pain and anger swirling inside. For the first time in her life, Alana realized something heartbreaking. Her father had never really trusted her judgment. He trusted his money more. The sun was already starting to set when Alana finally gathered the courage to go back outside. Her chest felt heavy. Her throat burned with all the words she didn't know how to say. Jamal was still at his post, hands in his pockets, staring out at the quiet street. When he saw her, he straightened. You look like you've been crying, he said softly. Because I have, she replied. He moved closer, concern all over his face. What happened? Did he? He gave me a choice, she cut in. Jamal's jaw clenched. Of course he did. You or my inheritance, she whispered. For a moment, the world went still. No cars, no birds, no wind. Just the two of them and a decision bigger than both their lifetimes. He swallowed. What did you say? I told him I needed time, she replied. But he said I have until tonight. Jamal looked away, muscles in his face tightening. I knew this would come. I just hoped, not so soon. Tears spilled down her cheeks. What are we supposed to do, Jamal? I don't care about the money the way he thinks I do. But I also don't want him to disown me. I don't want him to hate me. He exhaled, pained. Alana. I can survive being poor. I can survive a lot of things. But I can't be the reason you lose your family. You're not the reason, she protested. His pride is. Maybe, Jamal said quietly. But I'm the trigger. He took a step back. Her heart panicked. Don't do that. I have to, he whispered. If I stay, you'll keep choosing me. And if you keep choosing me, you'll lose everything you've known since childhood. What if I'm willing? She cried. He shook his head. You think you are. But 10 years from now, when things get hard, you'll remember what you walked away from. And I never want you to resent me for it. She grabbed his arm. Don't leave me. His eyes shone. I love you, Alana. That's why I'm walking away now. Before your father forces you to slam the door yourself. Her voice shook. Say you don't love me. It will be easier. I can't lie to you, he replied. A car passed, headlights brushing over them like a slow, harsh spotlight. Where will you go? She whispered. He gave a small, sad smile. I have places. She didn't understand what that meant, but she was too broken to ask. He leaned forward and pressed his forehead to hers. If the world was fair, he murmured, this gate would have been the beginning of our story, not the end. Then he stepped back, turned, and walked away from the Porter mansion. Alana watched him until he disappeared into the night, feeling like someone had reached into her chest and taken her heart with him. Inside, from his upstairs window, Eugene Porter watched everything. He saw his daughter collapse into quiet sobs. For a moment, just a tiny one, guilt flickered in his eyes. Then he turned away. Better she cries now, he muttered to himself, than suffers later. He had no idea how wrong he was. Days turned into weeks, but Alana never truly moved on. She stopped lingering by the windows. She stopped laughing at dinner. She stopped talking about anything that mattered. She existed. She didn't live. Eugene noticed but pretended not to. As long as she wasn't with the Gateman, he considered it a victory. One afternoon, when everyone thought she was out, Alana slipped into the small staff lobby near the back of the house. Jamal's old locker was still there, the metal door slightly rusted at the edges. No one had cleaned it out. With shaking hands, she opened it. A few folded shirts, a worn jacket, a half-used bottle of cologne, and a stack of books. She frowned, pulling one out. Principles of Modern Investment Strategy. Another one, Building Wealth with Integrity. Another, Leadership, Legacy, and Power. These were not the books of a casual security worker. A notebook sat tucked between them. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside were neat handwritten notes, flowcharts, and plans, business ideas, tech startup concepts, investment strategies. On one of the pages, she saw a sentence underlined 3 times. Never marry someone who loves your money more than your mind. She sank onto the small bench, her heart racing. Who was this man she had loved at the gate? She remembered the way he spoke sometimes. His vocabulary, his calm logic, his deep understanding when she talked about board meetings and shareholder pressures. She had assumed he was just naturally smart. But this looked like preparation. There was a sticky note between the pages of one book. It held just one line. One day I'll tell her who I really am. Alana stared at it, breath trembling. Her phone buzzed. It was her cousin April. You've been ghosting me, April said as soon as she picked up. You okay? Do you remember Jamal? Alana asked, ignoring the question. The Gateman your dad hated? Yeah. What if he isn't who we think he is? April snorted. Girl, you are heartbroken. Your brain is trying to make a fairy tale out of a tragedy. Let it go. I found books, Alana said. Notes. Investment plans. Like someone who lives in my father's world, not outside it. April went quiet. That's weird, she admitted. I need answers, Alana whispered. Then get them, April replied. You're a billionaire's daughter. You know how to hire a private investigator, don't you? Alana did. And 2 days later, she did exactly that. She sat across from a middle-aged black woman in a sharp navy suit at a quiet office downtown. Find everything you can about him, Alana said. Name: Jamal. Worked as a gateman at my father's estate. I don't have his last name. The woman arched a brow. That's not much. Then start with the security hiring records, Alana replied. Everything in that house is documented. If he breathed near my father's money, there's a paper trail. The woman stared at her for a moment, impressed. You're serious about this? He broke my heart, Alana said softly. I just want to know who exactly I gave it to. 3 days later, her phone rang. I found him, the investigator said. Alana's world was about to tilt. Text me the address, Alana said, grabbing her keys. The address came through. It wasn't a small apartment. It was a skyscraper in Midtown Atlanta. Her palms grew sweaty as she drove. This couldn't be right. Maybe he worked security for someone else now. Maybe. The valet at the luxurious building greeted her politely. I'm here to see Jamal, she said, unsure. Mr. Harrison? The man asked. Her heart skipped. Yes. You can take the private elevator, he replied, gesturing. Private elevator. Her knees felt weak. The elevator opened directly into a spacious penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling glass windows, a city view, designer furniture, abstract art on the walls. It looked like the type of place her father's business partners lived in. Not the type of place a former gateman rented. Jamal stood near the window, back turned, hands in his pockets. He turned at the sound of the elevator. When he saw her, his eyes widened. Alana. She stepped out slowly. So, this is where you went after walking away from the gate? He flinched at her tone. He was wearing a fitted shirt, dark trousers, a watch that cost more than some cars. His posture was different here, more grounded, more assured. Like this was his real world. I can explain, he said. That would be great, she replied tightly. Because right now, my mind is running laps. He took a breath. My full name is Jamal Harrison, he began. My family owns Harrison Global Investments. We manage hedge funds, tech portfolios, international properties. You're rich, she broke in. You're rich and you were working as my gateman. Yes, he said quietly. Do you hear how insane that sounds? She cried. I know how it looks, he said. But I was tired. Every woman I met in my world, they saw my last name first, my account balance second, and me last. If at all. She crossed her arms. So your brilliant solution was to lie to everyone and take a job in disguise? I wanted to meet someone real, he replied. Someone who didn't care about money. Someone who wouldn't rehearse their personality for a billionaire. And you picked my father's house? She asked sharply. He gave a small, embarrassed smile. Your father is well known in our circles. He's strict, disciplined. People say his daughter is hidden like a diamond in a vault. I wanted to see who she was. So I was an experiment, she asked, voice cracking. No, he said quickly, stepping closer. At first, maybe I was curious. But the moment you laughed at my stupid jokes, the moment you brought me coffee in the rain, it stopped being an experiment. Tears burned her eyes. You let me believe you were struggling. You let me cry because my father said you had nothing. You walked away like some martyr, meanwhile you have a penthouse in the sky. I walked away because I love you, he insisted. And I didn't think your father knowing I was rich would fix anything. In fact, I thought it would make it worse. He'd just assume I was another billionaire trying to play with his daughter. She stared at him, breathing hard. You took away my choice, she whispered. You decided what I could handle. You decided what I needed to know. How is that any different from what my father does? That hit him hard. He swallowed. You're right. I was wrong. Silence hung heavy. He stepped closer, voice softer. But tell me the truth. If you had known from the beginning who I was, if I had pulled up in a Bentley and introduced myself as Jamal Harrison, son of an investment dynasty, would you have trusted me the way you did? She remembered his simple clothes, his easy smile, the way she had opened up to him without fear. I don't know, she admitted. I do, he said gently. You would have built walls, not gates. Her lips trembled. He reached out slowly, giving her the chance to pull away. When she didn't, he took her hand. I should have told you, he said again. I can't erase that mistake. But I'm done hiding. Not from you. Not from your father. If you still want me, I'll fight for us in the open. She looked into his eyes, the same eyes that had watched her car pull away from the mansion every morning, the same eyes that had lit up every time she smiled. Do you still love me? She whispered. Yes, he breathed. More than any inheritance. She exhaled shakily. Then stop standing in this glass castle, she said. Come back to my father's house and tell him who you really are. His jaw tightened. He won't like it. She almost smiled through her tears. He didn't like you when he thought you were poor. He can dislike you with equal opportunity. For the first time in weeks, they laughed. It hurt, but it also healed. The next morning, Eugene Porter's mansion was quiet when the black luxury sedan pulled up outside. The staff peeked from discreet corners as a tall man in a sharp suit stepped out. The same face they had seen sweeping the gate. Only this time, Jamal didn't carry a broom. He carried presence. He walked up to the front door with Alana beside him. The butler, confused and nervous, let them in. Eugene stood in the foyer, already dressed for a meeting, tablet in hand. When he saw Jamal, his expression darkened instantly. What is he doing here? Eugene demanded. Dad, Alana said calmly, this is not Jamal the gateman. Jamal met his gaze steadily. Good morning, Mr. Porter. You were told never to come back here, Eugene snapped. Guards. Before you call anyone, Jamal cut in politely, you should probably know my last name. Eugene frowned. I don't care about your last. Harrison, Jamal said. Jamal Harrison. The room shifted. Eugene froze. Alana watched confusion flash, then recognition, in her father's eyes. Harrison, Eugene repeated slowly. As in Harrison Global? Yes, sir, Jamal replied. My family runs it. I handle the tech investment division. Silence. You're lying, Eugene said, but his voice lacked conviction. You can verify right now, Jamal replied. Call any of your partners. I'm sure my father's name will ring a bell. Eugene's mind raced through charity galas, board meetings, business articles. The Harrison name wasn't just familiar. It was powerful. You. Eugene said softly, almost to himself. You were sweeping my driveway. I was trying to live a different kind of life for a while, Jamal answered. I wanted to see a world where people didn't look at me like a walking bank account. Your security job gave me that. At least at first. Eugene's eyes narrowed. So you lied your way into my house. I applied for a job, Jamal corrected gently. You hired me after a 5-minute interview. I didn't hide my identity to hurt you. I did it to protect myself. And then you targeted my daughter, Eugene growled. No, Jamal said firmly. I met your daughter. I didn't target her. I fell in love with her. Alana stepped forward, her voice steady. Dad, he should have told us the truth. I was angry too. But his money doesn't change who he was at the gate. The man I talked to every morning, the man who listened, encouraged, and made me feel seen, that was real. Eugene looked between them, his chest rising and falling. So what is this? He asked. You think that because you have money too, you're suddenly good enough for her? It's not about being good enough financially, Jamal replied, keeping his tone respectful. It just removes your excuse. Eugene's eyes flashed. Young man, you may share my tax bracket, but you do not share my values, he said. You pretended to be someone you're not. That makes you untrustworthy. Jamal nodded slowly. That's fair. I was wrong to hide my identity. And if you decide you will never like me because of that, I can live with it. But what I will not accept is you treating your daughter's heart like it belongs to your company's more than it belongs to her. Eugene stiffened. Watch your tone. With all due respect, sir, someone needs to say it, Jamal replied. You talk about legacy and reputation like they're more important than her joy. But your legacy is not just your buildings and bank accounts. It's her. The way she loves. The way she lives. The way she looks at herself. Alana felt tears rise. Eugene looked at her silently. Is this really what you want? He asked her, voice lower now. To tie your life to a man who deceived us from the beginning? She took a breath, heart pounding. I want a life where I can choose, she said softly. You made your choices when you were my age. You took risks. You married Mom when your bank account was small and your dreams were big. You didn't let anyone tell you who to love. Eugene's face softened at the mention of her mother. Alana continued, voice shaking but strong. I'm not choosing his money, she said, nodding at Jamal. I'm choosing the man I met at the gate. The one who knew the difference between my fake smile and my real one. The one who didn't bow to you like you were God. The one who walked away so I wouldn't lose you. Eugene swallowed hard. What about your inheritance? He asked quietly. If I stand by what I said? For the first time in my life, she replied, I'm prepared to lose money to keep my heart. The room went silent. Eugene looked from his daughter to Jamal. He saw the way they stood, slightly apart, yet anchored to each other. Not clinging. Not desperate. Choosing. He saw himself and his late wife years ago when her parents told her not to marry a no-name dreamer like Eugene. Pain moved behind his eyes. Finally, he sighed heavily. I hate that you put me in this position, he muttered at Jamal. I hate that I lied, Jamal replied honestly. Eugene's gaze hardened again, but his voice was different now, less fire, more steel. I don't trust you yet, he said. It will take time. A lot of it. But I will not force my daughter to live half a life so I can feel fully in control. Alana's breath hitched. Does that mean? It means I'm not cutting you off, he said to her. Not yet. But I am watching both of you. Closely. He turned to Jamal. If you ever hurt her, money or no money, I will make your life very uncomfortable. Jamal almost smiled. That's fair, sir. And stop calling me sir, Eugene added gruffly. If you're going to be in my daughter's life, you'd better get used to calling me something else eventually. Alana's jaw dropped slightly. Jamal swallowed. I'll earn it. You'd better, Eugene said, turning away. Now get out of my foyer. Both of you. I have a meeting. But as he walked off, they didn't miss the tiny, reluctant curve at the corner of his mouth. It wasn't a smile. Not yet. But it wasn't hatred either. It was the beginning of a crack. Life didn't magically turn perfect. There weren't fireworks at the gate or violins playing in the background. But things changed. Slowly. Jamal didn't go back to being the gateman. Instead, he showed up as himself. He came by for dinner sometimes, sitting across from Eugene, talking about markets, tech trends, and the future of black wealth in America. Their conversations were tense at first, more like debates than dialogue. But every tension pulled something hidden out of both men. One evening, Eugene asked sharply, "Why did you really choose my house to work in?" Jamal answered honestly, "Because you're the kind of man I want as an ally, not an enemy." Eugene stared at him for a long time. Then, for the first time, he chuckled. "You're bold. I'll give you that." Alana watched them, hope growing quietly inside her. She and Jamal built their relationship differently this time. No secrets. He took her to his world, boardrooms, charity balls, dinners with his parents, who welcomed her warmly once they realized she wasn't chasing their money. "You made him sweep a gate?" Jamal's mother had asked, laughing. "That boy has always been dramatic." Alana shared her world with him too. Memories of her mom, pressure from being an only child, the way she sometimes felt like a company more than a person. On one calm Sunday afternoon, she and Jamal walked up to the same gate where everything began. The mansion behind them. The street ahead of them. The world in between. "Do you ever miss it?" she asked. "Miss what?" he said. "Being the gateman." He looked thoughtful. "I miss the simplicity," he admitted. "I miss knowing exactly where you'd drive out every morning." She smiled. "You still know where to find me." "Yeah," he said softly. "But now I get to walk on the same side of the gate as you." She leaned into him. "You always did. The world just couldn't see it yet." He slipped a ring box from his pocket, hands trembling slightly. Her heart stopped. "Alana Porter," he said, dropping to one knee. Not as a gateman, not as a billionaire, just as a man who had learned the cost of pretending and the power of truth. "We started wrong. I lied. Your father hated me. You cried more than anyone in love should have to. But if you'll give me the chance, I want to spend the rest of my life making sure you never question whether you are chosen." Tears blurred her vision. "Will you marry me?" he whispered. She laughed through her tears. "Are you asking me to choose again?" He shook his head. "No. This time, I'm not asking you to choose between love and legacy. I'm asking you to combine them." She looked back at the mansion. Through the window, she saw her father watching. He didn't look angry. He looked moved. He gave the smallest nod. That was all she needed. She turned back to Jamal. "Yes," she said, voice breaking. "I choose you. Not instead of my future, but as part of it." He slipped the ring onto her finger, hands shaking, eyes shining. As they hugged, the staff watched from a distance. Some smiling, some whispering, all knowing they were witnessing something that didn't happen every day. A billionaire's daughter and a man who had once swept the gate, standing as equals. Later that night, Eugene called Alana into his study. "You're really doing this," he said. "I am," she replied. He sighed. "You know, when your mother was pregnant with you, I promised her I'd give you everything. I thought that meant money, protection, security. I forgot that sometimes, giving everything means giving up control." Alana's eyes filled. "I'm still scared," he admitted. "But I see the way he looks at you. And it reminds me of how I looked at your mother. Like the world made sense when she was in it." She smiled softly. "Thank you, Dad." "I'm not doing this for him," Eugene grumbled. "I'm doing it for you. Don't tell him I like him yet." She laughed. "Your secret is safe with me." As she turned to leave, he added quietly, "And Alana?" "Yes. You didn't choose between love and your inheritance," he said. "You chose the kind of love that can actually handle it." In the years that followed, people would talk about the strange story of the billionaire's daughter who fell for her Gateman. Some said she was foolish. Others said she was brave. But the people who mattered knew the truth. She didn't fall in love with a job title, a bank account, or a last name. She fell in love with the man at the gate. And together, they built a life where love and legacy weren't enemies. They were partners. The gate that once separated worlds became the place where two of them first met. And nothing was ever beneath her again, because she had learned that real love always lifts you up.